There are 5 things you have to do. I'm going to go over the first 3 because the first 3 are the most important. Your weight has to be on the front foot, okay? If your weight is on the back foot, the leading edge is coming up. Your weight has to be on the front foot. It will vary depending on the lie, but usually it's about 80 or 90% on the front foot. If the lie is really bad, it'll be 100%. If the lie is fluffy or out of the rough or first cut, it might be 55, 60%. But you have to have your weight on the front foot. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to make a decision if you're going low or high. If you're going low, the ball will be placed off your back foot. And if you're going high, the ball will be placed off your front foot. But you will never chip with the ball in between your feet. That's an indecision. You haven't decided what kind of shot you want to hit. Now, it might vary off the back foot a little bit. It might be even further back if you're going really low, and it might be really far up if you're going really high. But you have to decide what kind of shot you're hitting, low or high, and play it accordingly. If you keep the ball in the middle of your stance, you're not able to put your weight forward. You'll go over the top of it. So make a decision. And the third thing is your hands have to be ahead. You cannot chip with your hands behind because the leading edge is coming up. Your hands have to lead and stay ahead. So there should be an inverse line. There should not be a V this way. It should be the other way. If you watch Steve Stricker set up at address, he breaks his wrist and locks it in before he hits. From that position, you can accelerate the hand into the finish. When your hands are back, you cannot go forward from this position. You have to wait until the hands get ahead, so you get too much backswing. You can't make a short little chip shot and accelerate to the target if your hands are not already ahead. But this is one of those things where if you do those 3 things, you will make solid contact. It's not hard. And then you can vary how much effort or energy you want. So the amount, the swing is going to be fairly similar. But when I start opening up the face, I'm going to have to use more energy. But I don't try to go really short and accelerate a lot, but I also don't want to go too far and ease into the ball either. I want it to be a nice, smooth, rhythmic swing. But the problem is that most people experience is they have to, if they don't start with their hands ahead, if they start with their hands back, they have to take too long of a backswing before their hands down cock and get ahead of the club head. So now they've got way too much energy for a short shot, and they have to create kind of a glancing blow to hit at the right distance, and it just doesn't work. So I always try to chip a basic chip if I can. I always want to start, if possible, with a square face and usually off the back foot and my hands ahead, because that's the easiest contact. But that ball will have a lot of release, and when we play on greens as fast as we play on, a lot of times that ball won't stop. I need a lot of green for that ball to stop. So then I have to start saying, okay, can I play it off my back foot, because that's always easiest to make solid contact, and open the face a little bit and maybe make it a little bit softer. It's still low, but it's a little bit softer. If I can hit that shot, I would prefer that. But if I simply can't, then I have to go off the front foot. And then I have to start saying, okay, do I have enough green to work with where I can do it with a square face? If possible, that would be nice. But if not, if I need it to stop quicker, then I have to open the face and make the same movement. And if that's not enough, then I have to start doing the lob shot. But what I'm doing there is I'm driving the club straight into the ground. Now this is where people don't understand about the lob shot, how it's working, because most people try to help it up and flip it up. The leading edge comes up and you blade it. See, this is a fairly tight lie, and what I'm doing is I'm going to put the ball way ahead of my front foot. I'm going to have 100% of weight on my front foot. I'm going to lay the club flat. I'm going to drive it into the ground and let the firmness of the ground bounce it into the ball. And that's how I'm getting it to pop straight up. When chipping from around the green, the first thing I have to do is assess my lie. If I have a tight lie, I have to position my weight forward to help keep the leading edge down underneath the ball. If my weight is back and I have a tight lie, I will go into the ball with the leading edge and blade it. If I keep my weight forward, I'm able to slide the club underneath the ball very easily. If you play a course that has firm conditions, you also want to go to a wedge that has less bounce. If you play soft conditions, you want a wedge with a little bit more bounce. But because we have all different types of conditions on tour, I have to adjust my positioning of my weight throughout the shot. If I have an uphill lie or a fluffy lie and I position my weight forward, I go right underneath the ball. I then have to put my weight back, which helps level out the bottom of the arc, making these shots simple.
Phil, can you imagine making your debut on the PGA Tour Champions and getting a win your first week?
It's really been a lot of fun, and it's so fun for me to see the guys that I grew up watching as a kid, had a chance to compete against and haven't seen for a long time now. Being able to play against them, they were so welcoming, and I'm very fortunate to be able to compete against them and start off with a win.
One of the crucial putts today that you had was on the par 4 fifth where you made eagle. We saw throughout the week your stroke looked fantastic. What have you been working on?
So I'm trying to let the putter just kind of fall into the ball and get rid of the hit.
Right.
So when I have a bottom hand on the grip, there's resistance, and it almost gives it a little hit. So that's
Right.
why I go to the claw. There's nothing holding it back. So I'll putt one-handed, and I'll just let the putter just fall into the ball. And when I put the claw on and take it back, it might just push it through, but it's not holding the club back or giving it any hit. So I really want to just take the putter back and let it just fall onto the back of the ball as such, without any type of hit or extra energy.
Was that something that takes away going to the claws, that take away any feel whatsoever?
What it does is it allows the putter to go through impact free,
Right.
without that extra hit that makes the ball come off hot.
Right. Well, congratulations on the win. What was it like, the experience seeing guys you haven't played with in quite some time this week?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't seen some of these guys for 10 years, and it's fun to compete against them again, fun to see them again, because they're quality guys, and they were very welcoming to me. It meant a lot. I used the length of arc to create speed, right? I'm not short, violent movement like a lot of the young guys are short and just violent.
Mm-hmm.
I try to use a length of the arc. It takes a lot of pressure off my body, but the problem or the challenge that I face is that if I get a little too active with my body, the club comes in and I have to use hands at the bottom, so it's very flippy. So Andrew Getson and I have been working repeatedly to try to weight at the top, and most people don't have a very good angle with their wrists and don't use it. Most people cast it and they lose a lot of their power. I'm the opposite, right? I have way too much wrist action,
and you've got that nice load on the bottom, on the downswing.
And I'm long past parallel, so I have to wait to let the club get out so that when my body does go, the club's in front. If I go with my body too fast, the club, which is so long going back, will get too narrow to my body. I get stuck, and then I have to flip it, and the face is going all over. So on those two swings, my sensation is that I'm letting the club kind of cast, if you will, but really what I'm doing is I'm just waiting to match up with my body as it goes through the ball, and it allows me to use leverage to create speed, length of arc to create speed, and not have to put so much violence on my body. But I think a real big thing for guys trying to hit it far is as you go through the ball, you'll notice I'll let my knee come off the ground. Bryson will let it come off the ground. Bubba Watson will. Because we're putting so much torque in it, and your knee is not meant to rotate and turn. So if you don't let it go, you're going to start ripping your knee up. You're going to have surgeries. And so as I go through the ball, I let the weight kind of come off it so that I take the pressure off the knee to prevent injury.
The most critical element when you're dealing with a fluffy lie, when you're dealing with a tight lie or a plug lie, is your weight disposition at the start. Here on a fluffy lie, I want to do a couple of things. I want to have my weight back. What this does is shallow out the bottom of my arc. If my weight is forward, it drives it down into the ground.
It'll be a lot steeper.
On a fluffier lie, my weight will be back, and on this wedge that you designed, for me to take advantage of the bounce, I need to open up the club face. This will add bounce at address and help the club slide through the fluffy sand without digging. So my weight will be fractionally back. My ball position really doesn't change. It stays off the front foot. And by moving my weight back, it shallows out the bottom of the arc, and the club is able to create a divot through the ball that does not dig. Hitting out of fairway bunker shots is never easy. It's not as bad when you have a little bit smaller head, a little bit more of a muscle back, thinner sole club to begin with. But no matter what iron you choose, there's one thing that can help you make it out of these fairway bunkers a little bit more consistently. And that is we have to come into the ball shallower. We don't want to come in steep. We don't want to hold this angle with our wrist. We actually want to cast it. Because if we come in steep, the ball's not on a firm enough surface to where it will take off in the air. It will actually sink as the club enters into the ball. So we want to come out and almost pick it out and come in at a shallow angle. Of course, we're leading with the leading edge on these higher lofted clubs with an 8-9 wedge or so, but if we come at it shallow enough and get the leading edge underneath the equator, it should come out okay. So all I'm doing on this shot is just casting my wrists a little early.